Victory Lawyers.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Former NFL wide receiver David Patton, who played for the Giants, Browns, Washington, Saints, and won 3 Super Bowl titles with the Patriots, died Thursday in a motorcycle crash near Columbia, South Carolina. Patton was 47 years old. Jets wideout Jamison Crowder tests positive for COVID-19. That puts his availability in question for the season opener a week from Sunday against the Panthers. He's also recovering from a minor groin injury. Managing COVID-19 outbreaks will be an issue again this season in the NFL, especially when it comes to quarterbacks. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler.
There are several quarterbacks around the league. We're talking top guys. As far as we know, are not vaccinated. Kirk Cousins, Lamar Jackson, Carson Wentz, and I think there are others. And so the most important position, you could get knocked out just by being a close contact.
Jeremy Fowler on Key J&Z. There is now an agreement to allow NHL players to play at the February Winter Olympics in Beijing. The league can opt out if COVID-19 conditions worsen or if the NHL schedule is disrupted by too many cancellations. NHL players didn't participate at the last Winter Games in 2018 in Pyeongchang.
The Early Line with Mario and Musso. Mario and Musso have your early line on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I mean, we're just here to have fun and win and have fun by winning.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, here's Mario Jerez and Matt Musso.
And welcome in. It is Friday, September the 3rd. Mario, we have made it. Less than 30 hours away from kickoff of the 2021 LSU football season. Tigers in Pasadena to face the UCLA Bruins. The line still sits at -3, the over-under at 65. The long and winding road that is the college football offseason leads to tomorrow at 6:30. The end is in sight.
And this might have been the longest week of the offseason, Musso, with everything we've been dealing with the storm and everything. Finally, tomorrow, hopefully everybody can find a place to sit down, watch the game, have some fun, and hopefully LSU is able to come out on top. Most of the people betting on this game seem to think that they will, but yet to be seen. And as you said, in less than 30 hours, we will finally get an answer.
It does seem like many people have a time to be able to finally settle down. Looks like power's coming back on for most around the capital city area, and that's a good thing. Even down in New Orleans, they're getting a little bit of power back much earlier than people had expected. Today, we kind of wanted to do something a little bit different, right? Because, I mean, I know, Mario, you and I, we've kind of made light of talking season a little bit here on this show in the past couple of weeks, just because it has been such a long road to get to this point. And we've kind of just repeated ourselves and broke down the game over and over and over again. And we wanted to kind of do something a little different today and take a look at both sides and maybe look at it. LSU wins if this happens. UCLA wins if this happens. Sort of keys to the game for each team.
And my first one, right off the bat, just keep Dorian Thompson-Robinson in the pocket. You and I kind of talked about this off mic. I straight up just don't think he's a very good quarterback, at least in terms of accuracy, and the stats throughout his career support that. He's never had more than 66% as a completion percentage for a full season. He goes 10 for 20 last week against Hawaii, and most of his passing yards came on one play, that deep touchdown bomb. I really think if LSU is able to stop the RPOs, stop the designed runs, they will have a lot of success against this UCLA offense. And obviously, first and foremost, you got to stop the run. But if LSU gets good play out of the defensive ends, they contain the quarterback, I think they can have a lot of success and crush this UCLA offense.
LSU wins if, first for me, aside from establishing the run game, aside from keeping Max Johnson clean, avoid unnecessary penalties. It's game one. You don't have the advantage that UCLA does, right? How many times has that been talked about? You've heard the line ad nauseum this week. You make the most improvement from week 1 to week 2. Well, this is technically week 2 for UCLA. They got all of that out of their system last week. They had 8 penalties for 75 yards. LSU can't repeat something like that. LSU needs to go out and just play fundamentally sound football, avoid the unnecessary penalties, and that will help them get off to a very good start, and then you focus on establishing the run game, which I know we've talked about has been and will be a huge key factor for LSU, and keeping Max Johnson's jersey white.
And we have not talked that much about kind of the home field advantage for UCLA or the lack thereof, because there's a lot of LSU fans going there. You saw the crowd in that stadium in the Rose Bowl last week against Hawaii, a really pathetic crowd. It kind of reminded me of like some Pelicans games or something, because it's the same thing. People in Los Angeles seem to really not care about college football the same way people in New Orleans kind of don't care about the Pelicans at times. And in a lot of those situations, Musso, if like the Lakers come to town or like somebody from a big market comes to town, there's more fans of that team than there is Pelicans fans. You might see something similar this weekend with LSU kind of taking over that place, and maybe it won't be 50-50, but there will be a lot of LSU fans there. So the start of this game will be critical in terms of momentum, flow of the game, and LSU really needs to avoid early turnovers. If UCLA can flip the field with a turnover, a fumble, something like that to spark the defense early in the game, that's really going to give them a chance in this one.
And then, of course, if LSU is to win, not only do you keep DTR in the pocket, you must contain Zach Charbonnet and Britton Brown. I think Britton Brown kind of got lost in the shuffle a little bit last week, and it's easy to see why. Zach Charbonnet was just a one-man wrecking crew out there, and he showed off, honestly, a lot of versatility in his running style, and it makes him a threat. I mean, I think we used the line yesterday. You're not just going to hear his name a lot tomorrow. You're going to hear his name a lot, really, for the rest of the season. Anytime you're around UCLA football, maybe you're watching Pac-12 after dark, you're going to hear a lot about Zach Charbonnet. So keeping him contained is one thing, but Britton Brown was their starting running back. I mean, that's the guy who got first touches last week, and he had his success as well. It was just Zach Charbonnet who stole the show. But you're going to have to keep those two in check as well as DTR if LSU is to win this game. If UCLA wins, Mario, it starts the same way with LSU. They have to establish the run. That's what Chip Kelly offenses do with Dorian Thompson-Robinson, with Zach Charbonnet, with Britton Brown. You also have to get more from DTR in the passing game.
Yeah, they have to. That's the only way UCLA is going to win this game. But early on, they're definitely going to test LSU, I think. They're going to see if LSU's run defense improved from last year, because we talked so much about LSU in the secondary, how bad they were against the pass, but they really got pushed around in the run game at times last year, especially against Missouri, when they were averaging like 5 yards a run before contact. Missouri was against this LSU defense. So they're going to try right off the bat with Robinson and with Brown. And that's a good observation you made about Brown kind of being the lead guy, despite the fact that Charbonnet might be a little bit more talented at the moment, because 106 yards for Charbonnet last week against Hawaii, that only came on 6 carries. Brown had 13 carries in the game, more than double that Charbonnet did. So they're going to be really aggressive with those guys in the beginning. And obviously LSU needs to establish a run game with TDP and with John Emery. Whichever team does that early on in the game will obviously have the advantage.
You know, you talk about if LSU improved defending the run from last year. And today on Purple and Gold 20, when I was doing the podcast earlier today, go check out 1045ESPN.com. Shout out Patient Plus Urgent Care as well. I kind of took a different approach today, too, on that, too, and went just position group by position group, defense and offense, about somebody who I'm really anxious to see the most. And when it came to safety, you know, I picked one guy. When it came to linebacker, one guy. Cornerback, one guy. When it came to the defensive line, Mario, and stopping the run, I said all of them. And maybe that's a cop-out, but I really am interested in watching every single one of them, because Coach O says they're going to rotate 10 guys, and I want to see Andre Anthony again build off the 5.5 sacks that led the team last year. Ali Gay build off of what he showed against Mississippi State and maybe stretch that for a whole season. Jaquelin Roy build off the end of last season. Mason Smith start his career at LSU. Jacobian Guillory, can he take that next step? Savion Jones, another true freshman, you're going to get to see him. BJ Ojolari, he's supposed to be in better shape now than he was last year as a true freshman when he was second on your team in sacks. It's like Neil Farrell. That guy's won a national championship and played meaningful minutes in that season. Played a lot of football for you. I want to see all of them. The secondary looks like they're going to be great. The linebacking core shows a lot of potential. The defensive line is the group you should be the most excited about on the LSU defense, and I want to see all of them, and I think they will be better at stopping the run because they're too talented not to be.
And they'll also be much better in the pass rush. They're going to be a lot more efficient, I think, in stopping the run on first and second down, winning those early downs, and putting UCLA in situations where they have to pass on 3rd and long, like 3rd and 7 or longer. And the defensive ends in particular, you just ran through the whole defensive line, but I'm so excited to see both Ali Gay and BJ Ojulari specifically in their second seasons at LSU. You brought up the Moose State game for Ali Gay. He played so well. You had people, some people on this station joking about he should just shut it down right there and
yeah,
go to
opt
the NFL.
out. Get out of here.
He looked that good. I think he is going to build on that. I think BJ Ojulari will also build on that with Andre Anthony playing a role. And you said people are going to be excited about this defense. I think they can be that much more excited because LSU really has potential to put on a shutdown performance against UCLA. For the reasons that I said, I think their quarterback is really one-dimensional. I think they rely a lot on their running game. Although Chip Kelly has shown to be a good play caller throughout his time as UCLA, they've been really balanced and they put up a lot of yards and a lot of points, but they haven't seen too many defenses the caliber of LSU's. And that's saying that with a grain of salt, I think, because they were really bad last year, Musso. They still had to prove that they will be better this season. But with the new hires and with all the talent that they have, especially along the defensive line and especially in the secondary, this group will be very improved. And I'm expecting a really, really good performance right off the bat tomorrow.
So UCLA needs to establish the run with their backs and DTR, and they need to get more out of DTR in the passing game if they are to win. I think they will get more out of the passing game. I'm still a little bit higher on him than I think you are. A couple more. You knew I wasn't going to get out of this segment without talking about this. UCLA, if they're to win, their defensive front has got to cause havoc, and they are very blitz heavy. They are very athletic, and they can get back to the quarterback quickly. They disguise the blitzes. It's a lot of motion stunts. We've talked about it all week long. I am still concerned about LSU's offensive line. That is going to be a major key if UCLA wants to keep this game close, and it ties back into a couple things that we talked about that LSU needs to do win. They need to keep Max Johnson clean. No grass stains, no mud stains on that jersey, and you need to establish the run game. That's going to be much more difficult if UCLA's defensive front is able to play the way that they've been able to play really dating back to the beginning of last season.
Yeah, I might feel a little bit better about the offensive line, at least going into this game, than most people. I mean, UCLA is a very aggressive defense, but they rely a lot on blitzes. They rely a lot on sending extra numbers. They can't really generate pressure with their front four, with the three-man front. And LSU will face that challenge later on in the season when they face teams like Texas A&M and Florida and teams that can bring pressure with just their defensive line. But this is a really good first test. Communication is going to be key. Passing off blocks is going to be key. And I think LSU's offensive line is capable of doing that. They've gotten a lot healthier. I know they've had a tough camp, man, but think about the front seven that they've been facing every single day, and think about kind of the injuries that they've had as well. They've acclimated to a new coach who we think will be an upgrade from James Craig, but still he's had to kind of go in there, implement his style, implement his system. I think this group can be a lot better than people think. I think they can improve as the season goes, but this is a really good first test against a very blitz-heavy UCLA defense.
And lastly, you mentioned it a little bit when we were talking about if LSU wins, you said they need to avoid the big turnover. For UCLA, you need to force the big turnover early, create some momentum in that game because it's thought to probably be a pretty large LSU contingent in the stands, even on the road, thousands of miles away in LA.
That's going to be so nice for those guys to see, I think. After all that they've been through this week, we don't know how bad the damage is to some of these guys' houses and their families. It's really going to be a jolt of energy. It's really going to be a shot in the arm for the LSU Tigers, I think, to go to somebody else's stadium and see that contingent of people who have gone through the same struggles in the last week as they have, rooting on the road team. That's really going to give LSU a lot of juice. And as I said, I think the start of this game can be really important because if LSU does force that early turnover and you got the purple and gold fans rocking that stadium in the Rose Bowl for the very first time, LSU has never played in that stadium. Yep. It can create a very beneficial situation for the Tigers.
And it's a 6:30 Central start here, which means it'll be, 4:30 in L.A. That gives the LSU faithful plenty of time to be hydrated before they enter the Rose Bowl
for that game. The vendors are so not ready.
Oh, yeah, they're not. No, they're not. They're not. This will only be, the second game that they've served beer and wine at the Rose Bowl. Get ready. Here, we talk about the test it's going to be for LSU's offensive line. How about the test for the UCLA concession vendors? Yeah, I'm with you on that, Mario. We'll grab a break. Plenty to come still on this show. Next, we'll give you some picks for the weekend. Gave you our first pick segment yesterday with our underdogs. Next will just be more of a generic. I think we have 4 picks each this week for college football. Barstool Sports Ben Mintz, he will join us at 2:30, and then Tyler Moody will be along to close out the show at 2:45 in his normal spot. Stay right here. Stick around. More Early Line next on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome back. We've missed you. We know it's been tough. Because rebuilding your business isn't for the faint of heart. Your business needs a jump start. And we're here to help. Introducing Surge, symmetrical speed fiber internet from eTel Business. Revved up data speeds at 30% off, plus 3 months free. We're glad you're back, and we're here to make your business surge.
All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. Need repair? Our service department is ready and available to help you today. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
If home is where the heart is, a roof is a shield. That's why for over 25 years, South Louisiana always turns to Garcia Roofing and Sheet Metal. For more information, visit garciadidmyroof.com.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Hope you enjoy your long weekend. Labor Day is Monday, but we are working. Hunting Hill from noon to 2. We'll be reacting to LSU and UCLA and looking at Dallas and Jacksonville for the New Orleans Saints season opener. Join us noon to 2 on Labor Day on Hunting Hill.
Early Line with Mario and Musso, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
We have made it to week 1 of the college football season, people, and it's time to make some week 1 picks here on Early Line. So let's get right into it, Musso, after you say this.
Well, I was going to say, so this is technically our second week of doing it. It's week 1 of college football. Week 0, I went 2-1. You did?
I went 1-2.
Okay, so here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to build on those records here.
Trying to cut into the deficit that I've built against Musso here. So my first play for week 1 of the college football season is the under of 58 in ULL at Texas. And the Raging Cajuns defense is ranked really high by Pro Football Focus. They are the 8th best unit heading into this season. And last year, Musso, they had 3 guys to win Sun Belt honors, or all Sun Belt honors, including defensive end Zion Hill, the safety Brelin Trahan, and their leading tackler, linebacker Lorenzo McCaskill, who was on the first team. And they're led by Patrick Toney, who's been really, really good as the defensive coordinator for the Cajuns, considered by many to be the best defensive coordinator in the Sun Belt. And then for Texas, Pete Kwiatkowski is in his first year as defensive coordinator for the Longhorns. He had some really good groups at both Boise State and at Washington. And like I said, Toney helped cultivate kind of what right now going into this season is considered the best defense in the conference, possibly the best defense in the group of 5. And remember that Iowa State game last year, which was won by the Raging Cajuns, only featured 45 points. I think it's something similar here. Like I said yesterday, I think Texas wins the game by about a touchdown, but I think UL covers, and I think we reach the under of 58 in this one.
You're all on that ULL Texas game. It was one of your underdog picks yesterday, like you said, and now you're picking the under in it as well. My first pick, we're going to go to a game that happens tonight, Mario, and a game that happens not too far from now, actually. 5 p.m. kickoff, North Carolina at Virginia Tech. Tar Heels favored by 5.5 points, and I'll be honest, this line feels a little low to me. I know North Carolina's they lost a lot, but look, they're a preseason top 10 team. People are high on North Carolina. And if we're being honest, the Justin Fuente era in Blacksburg, it's left a lot to be desired. We said they're replacing a lot, and most of it's on offense. Both of their running backs, Javonte Williams and Michael Carter, and then 1,000-yard receiver receivers with Brown and Newsome. All 4 of those guys gone. But you still have Sam Howell, who is the source of all this hype for North Carolina. And if he is really the NFL prospect that people expect him to be, that top 10 guy, he should be able to make up some of the slack and still be able to, bring North Carolina forward this year. His top target looks to be Josh Downs. Downs had 2 touchdowns against A&M in the Orange Bowl. That included one that went for 75 yards. I'd expect a pass-heavy attack as the Tar Heels will work to replace production at running back. They are returning 4 out of 5 starters on the offensive line. They also return, I believe, 10 starters on defense. Their defense not a very good unit last year, but with 10 starters back, you hopefully look for some improvement there. Lastly, Virginia Tech in 10 ACC games last year was 3-7 against the spread, including failing to cover versus the North Carolina Tar Heels. UNC 5-6 against the spread last season. Give me the Tar Heels minus 5.5 tonight in Lane Stadium versus the Virginia Tech Hokies. That game kicks off at 5 p.m.
Can't wait for Enter Sandman. It's going to be so awesome.
It's a phenomenal tradition.
My next pick is the Arkansas Razorbacks plus the points, minus 19.5. They're favored against Rice. And the Razorbacks coming into this one, Musso, are dealing with a couple of injuries. Treylon Burks, the second-team All-SEC wide receiver from last year, is dealing with an ankle injury. He's day-to-day right now. And Treylon Smith, the running back, also ailing a little bit. We'll wait and see about the status of those guys. But I'm really high on Arkansas's defense. Odom is a really good defensive coordinator with head coach experience. And Kendall Briles on the other side is a really good offensive coordinator as well. And similar to ULL, Arkansas has some really good individual defensive players. When you talk about Bumper Pool, second best name in the Southeastern Conference, only behind Smoke Monday on Auburn. He's a really good player. As is Grant Morgan, who was first team All-SEC, the second leading tackler in the entire conference from last season. Luke McCaffrey is the quarterback for Rice. He may or may not play. He may or may not start. He's obviously Christian McCaffrey's brother, and he played a little bit for Nebraska last season, but he was awful and ended up getting benched for Adrian Martinez, who started that season as the backup. So I'm a little higher on Arkansas's defense, I think, than some people are, and I think they win this game. I think they cover the 19.5 spread. Give me the Razorbacks 34-14 at home against Rice.
5 games this weekend, Mario, feature ranked-on-ranked opponents. You already touched on one with ULL in Texas. I'll touch on another one, Indiana at Iowa. The Hawkeyes anywhere from a 3.5 to 4-point favorite at home this weekend. I will tell you this, though. I am totally bought in on Indiana. Michael Penix is back from his ACL injury, along with Ty Freifogel, who is the reigning Big Ten wide receiver of the year, had back-to-back 200-yard games. The offense will be one of the best in the country, with Penix back leading the charge. They return just about everybody, including a running back as well. For what it's worth, Iowa does return their entire starting secondary, so it will be a good first test for Penix as he comes back from injury. Iowa starting quarterback Spencer Pratis is also back, looking for more consistency. Did come on strong to end last year. The Hoosier defense returns 9 starters on a unit that held opponents to 20 points per game. I am bought in. I think the Hoosiers are for real. Give me the Indiana money line plus 165 this week at Iowa.
Like the Hoosiers, too. They'll certainly be tested. Their schedule not too easy. My next pick is the San Jose State Spartans at USC. The Trojans in this one favored by 14, minus 14 for USC, but San Jose State, the defending Mountain West champions from 2020, did not play very well in the bowl game, dropped a blowout loss to Ball State, but they had some guys out. They were away from home forever because of some situations due to COVID, but they bring pretty much everybody back except for a couple of wide receivers. You know how I feel about USC. They've been overrated for like 16 years. They're overrated again going into this year. Nick Starkel leads a veteran offense. He played really well in week 0 as the Spartans covered the spread, as we predicted. I think USC wins the game, something like 31-24, but the Spartans cover, and they give USC a serious scare in the season opener.
Going to another ranked game, Mario. The game of the weekend, Georgia and Clemson in Charlotte. Duke's Mayo kickoff game. Low scoring. Going to be low scoring. The under might be a pretty good play here as well. Plenty good defenses. 2 of the best defensive fronts in the country. Georgia's is particularly nasty. And if you've ever listened to this show, you know I'm extremely high on the Georgia Bulldogs and JT Daniels this year. But it's not just because of Daniels. It is also because of that defense. Georgia does have some injuries, man, but I've said it all along. If Georgia can get past Clemson week 1, they have a strong, strong chance to run the table through a weak Eastern Division. Got to get past Florida, but the rest of the teams on there should not pose much of a problem. Georgia has a legitimate chance to go 12-0 if they get past the Clemson Tigers. You know Kirby's going to want to run the ball, even against that strong defensive front from Clemson. Whichever team can establish the run, Mario, is going to have a great chance to win this game. Georgia, Kirby, they're always kind of going to be a little bit of run first. I like that. I like JT Daniels. He's got a little bit more experience than DJ Uiagalelei, even though he is a very, very good player. You saw what he could do filling in for Trevor Lawrence last year. Many people think he might even be better than Trevor Lawrence. I'm not ready to go that far. Georgia does still have some injuries, but I've been so high on the Bulldogs all year. I can't go away from it now. Georgia on the money line, plus 135 versus Clemson.
We'll break down that game some more in a little bit with Ben Mintz. And speaking of Ben Mintz, my very last pick today is Ole Miss, minus 9.5. Neutral site game in Atlanta against the Louisville Cardinals. And we all know about Matt Corral, the numbers that he put up last year, 29 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, as the Rebels put up at least 21 points in every single game and averaged just a hair under 40 points per contest. I think Ole Miss carries over that momentum from last season. I think that Louisville is kind of in this game. They keep it close in the first half, but Ole Miss creates a couple of turnovers. That offense picks up where it left off last year, and the Rebels take this one 41-28. And that will be my final pick.
41-28. Final pick for me. I think this could actually be one of the more intriguing games of the weekend. And it's surprising when you're going to hear the teams. Houston versus Texas Tech. Neutral site game. It's in NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas. But anyway, it's almost a pick 'em. It's a 1-point game either way between the Red Raiders and the Cougars. Houston, 8 starters back on offense, including their starting quarterback, Clayton Tune, dual threat guy, expected to take the next step. Second season as the starter, first with the full offseason. They averaged a lot of points last year, did Houston under Dana Holgorsen, but it was a little inconsistent. They think this is finally going to be the year where it comes together for Holgorsen and that offense. Their leading receiver, Nathaniel Dell, is back, along with transfers, Keyshawn Carter from Texas Tech, Seth Green from Minnesota, Jalen Irwin from UCLA. 4 or 5 starters back on the offensive line. They are replacing their leading rusher, but still have a strong veteran backfield. The Cougar defense, 9 full-time starters, but 11 guys with starting experience. They do have to replace Peyton Turner, who was the first-round draft pick of your New Orleans Saints, and their leading tackler, Grant Stewart, but return their second leading sack man, and the pass rush should still be in good hands. Texas Tech, Oregon transfer, Tyler Shue is at quarterback. You know they have weapons at the skill position. A new offensive coordinator there, Mario, is attempting to improve an offense that averaged just 29 points per game last year for Texas Tech, the lowest total in 12 years in Lubbock. Defense returns 8 starters from a unit. Wasn't very good. 6 yards per play. This game you will see points in this game, but I trust Houston's defense to get at least one more stop than Texas Tech. Houston on the money line, -105 over the Red Raiders.
Man, Texas Tech averaging less than 30 points per season, and then LSU's defense putting up the numbers that they did last year in a negative fashion. Wow. What a weird season last year. Think we'll get back to a little bit of normalcy, both as far as the teams are concerned and as far as all the pageantry that will return for college football.
Recap real quick. Picks. For me, North Carolina tonight, -5.5. Indiana on the money line tomorrow. Georgia on the money line tomorrow. And Houston on the money line tomorrow as well.
Those are Musso's picks. I like the under of 58 in ULL at Texas. I like Arkansas -19.5 versus Rice. I like San Jose State and the points +14 at number 15 USC. And I like the Ole Miss Rebels to cover a 9.5 point spread against the Louisville Cardinals. We'll go to break. We'll come back and talk to my favorite Ole Miss alum. That's Ben Mintz of Barstool Sports. Mario Jerez alongside Matt Musso here on Game Day Eve for LSU football on a Friday edition of Early Line on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Ochsner Health.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my 4 boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at PatientPlusUC.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back, North Airway off of Airline Highway.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Hey, it's Musso. Join us for Friday's AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Matt is live from Los Angeles, California, as we finish getting you prepared for LSU's opener in the Rose Bowl versus UCLA. Friday's AFR 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Early Line with Mario and Musso, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Back here on the early line, college football is now in full swing. 16 games last night, 8 more tonight, more on Saturday, more on Sunday, and even more on Monday. We're going to break it all down for that. We head up to New York City where we find Ben Mintz of Barstool Sports, our guy. Barstool Mincy, how's it going?
Oh, man, it's great. First football Friday of 2021. Vibes are high. Pretty good start here. I tore them up last night, had a 5-1 night, and feeling good about this weekend, man. Big cards this weekend. A lot of games to get to. Great week 1 slate, and can't wait to break it down with you guys.
What stood out to you last night, Mincy?
Well, a lot of things, but boy, it's funny. The one I lost, I had Central Florida, and they outgained Boise 573 to 283, and didn't cover, which I thought was pretty funny stuff. Ohio State, Minnesota, I was all over that. I had Minnesota first half, and I took Ohio State second half. I thought that they'd be close early and they'd extend it late. That was a fun one, but those were certainly the 2 best games. Tennessee, even though they won big, doesn't look like they're back at all. Ohio State's got a lot of great weapons. Their defense struggled a little bit. And, it was honestly the biggest thing that stood out was just having football on TV again and how exciting it is.
Mincy, as you said, a loaded slate of college football tomorrow. 5 ranked-on-ranked matchups is the most since the AP poll was invented. So let's get right into it. We've talked a lot about this Alabama-Miami game. Bryce Young is making his much-anticipated debut at quarterback for the Crimson Tide. It's Alabama favored by 19.5, over under 61 against the 14th-ranked Miami Hurricanes. What are your thoughts?
Man, this is one that I'm actually sitting back and watching this one. I think the line and the over-under is about right. Bama's defense is going to take a big step forward this year. Love their linebacking core. I think you're going to see Bama get back to that dominant defense. Bryce Young, certainly a super hype quarterback, but they did lose a ton on offense, even by their – I know they only reload, but, I mean, you're talking they lost so much. And they've also got a new offensive coordinator in Bill O'Brien. It's hard to know on the Miami front. I feel like every time we keep hearing the U is back, they just get crushed by somebody. De'Aaron King also coming off a torn ACL. Supposedly he's healthy, but first game out there against Bama, hard to trust that. Bama's laying 19. I'm going to sit back and watch this, and I think Bama does win somewhere around 38-20. So no strong opinion, but I think the Tide take care of business.
Biggest game of the week takes place in Charlotte, Mincy. Number 3, Clemson. Number 5, Georgia. The Tigers, a 3-point favorite. The over-under is set at 50. 2 very good defenses in this game. Any particular thought on that one?
Yeah, so this total seems low. I know the defense is really good. Clemson hadn't figured out a starting center, which concerns me. You know, juggling center, it's a weird position to juggle, facing a tough front. But I know people are high on DJ Uiagalelei. I'm higher on him than anybody. I think he's a Heisman Trophy winner. I think he's going to be unbelievable. And then you look at this quarterback matchup with him and JT Daniels, who I also like. And this is the only over I'm taking this week. I think this total's too low because how good the quarterback play is. And so I'm going over in this game. I lean Clemson at 3. The line coming down 4-3. Clemson's defensive line is unreal this year. It's going to be ferocious. And y'all don't forget, Clemson, really bad taste in their mouth after they got blown out by Ohio State in the semifinal. They've been thinking about this game all offseason. And I like but don't love Clemson. I'm on the over.
Ben Mintz of Barstool Sports is our guest here on the early line. And in the Big Ten, Mincy, much anticipated matchup. Camp Randall Stadium, Jump Around will be playing. They'll be jumping around. Number 19, Penn State at the 12th ranked Badgers, who are favored by 5.5 points. Over-under is at 50. What are your thoughts?
Well, this one is two teams that both kind of had bad throwaway COVID years. Penn State started 0-5, finished up 4-5. Wisconsin had to deal with massive COVID issues. Both these teams kind of took a step back last year. And so, what a just massive opener. To have to play a monster conference game like this week 1, and both teams trying to bounce back from bad seasons. I'm kind of leaning on this. I'm on the first half under in this one. Y'all know that I feel like I'm almost invented the first half under gambling theory. College football games tend to start out a little slower. And then a lot of times depth wears out in the second half, like you saw it in Ohio State, Minnesota last night. Games tend to get wilder in the second half. I think this is going to be a slugfest. I don't want to lay 5 or 5.5 in a lower scoring game, so I have no opinion on the spread. I am going to go first half under and think this is going to be a big physical Big Ten game. And neither team has like super firepower wide receivers or game breakers.
Let's stay in the Big Ten and talk about a team that does have a game breaker at wide receiver. Ty Freifogel, Indiana, number 17th ranked team in the country, travels to Iowa, the number 18 ranked team in the country. The Hawkeyes, a 4-point favorite at home, over-under set at 40/6. Are you buying the Indiana Hoosiers this year, Ben Mintz?
Kind of not. I do love Tom Allen and what he's done. This is going to be different for them when everybody's expecting them to be good. But, man, I don't like messing with Iowa when they're at home. The thing with Iowa under Ferentz, they're so boring. You never want to bet Iowa like, oh, they're sexy. But, man, they are hard to beat on the road. They're going to run the ball. They're going to play physical defense. And I just think this is a very tough spot for Indiana to start the year. I'm leaning Iowa in this one, and I think I'm going to take them. Indiana, I think, takes a little bit of a step back this year. I know they get Michael Penix back. He was hurt down the stretch last year, their quarterback. But I'm leaning Iowa in this one. I just think they're too tough at home.
Number 23, ULL has the biggest game for their program in a long time, Mincy. They're at number 21, Texas, in a ranked matchup. Steve Sarkisian's debut as head coach for the Longhorns. A lot of people believe in UL to at least cover this spread here. The over is at 58. What do you think of Longhorns and Raging Cajuns?
Man, I'm leaning UL is whatever you want to call them, the team from Lafayette. I'm leaning them as well. There's something I want y'all to watch for this year specifically, okay, with these top G5 teams. Because the added COVID year of eligibility, we've never seen this much returning production. UL's got 20 returning starters. Get everybody back. And so you're going to see that with a lot of these top teams. When you look at these G5 teams, they don't normally have the 4 and 5-star guys. So you make up for it with continuity, having a lot of seniors, all that stuff. And I like that. Texas, we saw them drop the 2 back-to-back to Maryland a couple of years ago, week 1. We saw UL win at Iowa State last year. I don't know if UL pulls this off, but I think it can go either way, so I got to take the 8.5 points here. I like the Sarkisian hire more than most at Texas, but I think year 1's still going to be tricky, losing Sam Ehlinger. And, this is a program that's kind of been stuck in mediocrity for a while. And to think he's just going to show up and immediately get them to 9 or 10 wins, I think is unfair. I think when you see Texas make gains, it's going to be in year 2 and year 3, but that's also not going to be easy when they get to the Southeastern Conference.
Can't let you get out of here, Mincy, without talking about the game that everyone has their eye on here. LSU on the road in Pasadena to take on UCLA. Tigers a 3-point favorite. Got to give you some credit, Mincy. You told us last week when there wasn't much movement on the line, you said wait till after the UCLA game against Hawaii. If they go out there and look impressive, you're going to see a lot of money come in on the Bruins. That's exactly what happened. But 3 points still feels like a pretty good number for LSU.
Oh, I think so. Look, the only thing I've liked LSU the whole offseason in this matchup, and everybody's overrating UCLA off last week. The only thing is, y'all know this being in Baton Rouge, the Hurricane thing's a weird dynamic to deal with. I know they're saying all the right things. They went to Houston in practice, but when you can't get a hold of your family and friends and all the stuff that's happening in South Louisiana, it does affect stuff. There's no getting around it. And so that's the only thing that kind of really concerns me. But LSU in these kickoff games, I mean, we're 10 years. This is the 10-year anniversary of the last one against Chip Kelly, the Honey Badger breakout game when they beat Oregon in 2011 in Dallas. But, going through the years, these LSU Week 1 non-conference games, we all remember them losing at Wisconsin with the offense being bad. But other than that, I mean, they've won almost, they always show out in these Week 1 games. I don't like going against LSU Week 1. I think they come out and get it done, and it cracks me up how public UCLA is. Everybody, Dan and Dave and Walker, everybody's on UCLA. I think the demise of the LSU football program has been greatly exaggerated off a weird year last year, the COVID, the opt-outs. I believe in Max Johnson, too, and I think they're going to be good. The only question, I'm curious, the Durante Jones thing, I like him coming from Mike Zimmer, but he hasn't been a college defensive coordinator. But there's nowhere to go but up from Bo Pelini. We know that.
Ben Mintz from Barstool Sports. You can find him on all social media, Twitter, Instagram, at Barstool Mincy. Plenty of content over at Barstool Sports, Fantasy Football Factory Podcast, Pick Central. He's everywhere. He's our guy. Joins us weekly here on the Early Line. Mincy, thank you. Enjoy the college football weekend, sir.
Yeah, and the last thing, y'all keep a real close eye on that college football show, the Barstool College Football Show in the morning. And, excited for Week 1.
I don't know, man. Brandon Walker was coming in here talking crazy the other day. I don't know if we can make any promises. I'm just messing, Missy.
Thank y'all for having me, and look forward to coming on weekly during the season.
Absolutely. We'll come back with Tyler Moody, close out Early Line here on Friday, September 3rd. Stick around.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome back. We've missed you. We know it's been tough. Because rebuilding your business isn't for the faint of heart. Your business needs a jump start. And we're here to help. Introducing Surge, symmetrical speed fiber internet from eTel Business. Revved up data speeds at 30% off, plus 3 months free. We're glad you're back, and we're here to make your business surge.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, Middle Relief, and after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. Need repair? Our service department is ready and available to help you today. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your...
Join us for a Monday, Labor Day edition of Off the Bench as we recap LSU versus UCLA, give our thoughts on week 1 of the college football season, and look ahead to the Saints season opener. Off the Bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Legends. After all that time, this is our time.
Early Line with Mario and Musso. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Game day Eve for LSU football. We've been breaking down the game throughout the show, and it's now time to wrap up the show.
They still haven't been able to top that hype video.
No, they
All
haven't.
of them are great, but they haven't topped that one
Oh,
yet.
the Boosie one was really good, too,
That
to
one's
set
better.
it off. But as I was saying, been talking a lot of college football, been talking a lot of LSU football, but now it's time to talk some Major League Baseball to wrap up the show with Tyler Moody. Tyler, how are you?
5150, we out here, man. I gotta love the little Boosie reference there to start the segment off. But excited for some football this weekend, guys. Obviously, baseball going full throttle right now. But like I said yesterday, best time of the year. Football's firing up. You got pennant races going down the stretch. It's a sports nerd's paradise.
We will recap your picks in a moment. We'll get your picks for tonight in the world of Major League Baseball. But before we do, Tyler, you are the newest member of the Demon Sports Network. You will work as an analyst on the football broadcast this season. And I had to ask you about the game this weekend where Northwestern State is actually an 18.5-point underdog at the University of North Texas. I know you'll be on the call. Not asking you to give a pick per se, but do you have any thoughts on the season opener for the Demons?
Yeah, a lot of new faces, including myself. Got some returners on the offensive line. Tight end group's going to be really good. The question right now for the Demons is going to be the quarterback play. So we'll see. Fletcher's going to be the starting quarterback. Obviously, they got a great duo of running backs with Scooter and Scott in the backfield. So there's some hype around Northwestern State football. I know it's been quite a few down years, unfortunately, but there's some enthusiasm, some belief that the offense will be good enough to make some noise this year. So we'll see. It'll be my first game being with the Demons on Saturday. We'll be at North Texas. That game is on ESPN Plus at 6:30.
Best of luck.
You can watch us on the Demon Sports Network, of course.
Please do that. Best of luck in your new venture, my friend. Fork 'em, baby.
Appreciate you guys. Yeah, fork 'em. Let's go.
Led 2019 LSU for a longer time than Alabama did.
Never forget.
Shout out to the Demons. Let's recap our picks from last night, Tyler. You had the Indians money line minus 108 at Kansas City, and the Braves money line minus 1.5.
Yeah. So unfortunately, the Braves just won by 1 run, 6-5. Couldn't quite get it done late. Will Smith did pick up a save in that game. He was good late. Big day from Jorge Soler. He hit a home run. He kind of propelled the Braves. Unfortunately, they didn't cover that 1.5. And then Tristan McKenzie, man, looked really good yesterday for the Indians. Goes 6 innings of 1-run baseball, gave up just 2 hits. And that Indians offense, just every game right now, they're pretty solid. So, they're a good bet at the moment if you're looking for, some offensive upside. But yeah, Indians get it done, and the Braves get the win. They just didn't cover.
It's been a good week for you, Tyler. I mean, maybe if you haven't necessarily, the hook's got you a couple times, but as far as the winners, I mean, you've been right on it. So I mean, it's been a really, really solid week. What do you have for us tonight?
Yeah, I would say the analysis has been good. It's the game of baseball, man. The margin of error is very small. You know what I mean? So sometimes that 1.5 is just a little too much for you. But let's turn our focus to today. We've got a big-time matchup. 2 of my favorite teams, probably the 2 teams I've watched the most this season, the Oakland A's and the Toronto Blue Jays. Manaea on the hill for Oakland and For Toronto, it'll be Alex Manoah, their rookie. I'm going with the under in that game. Normally, I love these offenses, and who knows, they could blow my cover here today for sure and each score 8 runs. But I believe you're going to see a pretty good pitching matchup between those two guys. So I've got the under in that game. It is, let me pull my lines back up here, under 9. So obviously these are two great offenses. They usually score, 4.5 runs per game. But I like the under in this game. So we've got Oakland and Toronto under 9 runs to start the day. Then we're going to turn to the other team that I have watched as much as those two, and that's the Cincinnati Reds, one of my favorite offenses in all of baseball. We're going to take the over with the Reds in this game. They are on the run line at 5.5 runs. We're going over 5.5 today with the Cincinnati Reds. That's at plus 112 if that hits. So the under 9 runs on Toronto and Oakland, and then we've got the over for Cincinnati at 5.5. And we're going to go ahead and piggyback off of that and take the Reds minus 1.5. So we've got a double bet right there in that Reds game. We're going Reds minus 1.5 and Reds over 5.5. Those were 3 that I felt pretty good about today. And then I have one more for you guys. It is the Angels minus 1.5 with Shohei Ohtani on the hill. Obviously, they've been good. He's been good. Jared Walsh is swinging the bat pretty well. And I'm
got about 10 seconds, Tyler.
Yeah, it's been a horrible season for the Rangers. The Angels get it done minus 1.5.
Thanks, Tyler. That's Tyler Moody. Best of luck to the LSU Tigers against UCLA. This is Early Line, 104.5 ESPN.